Hey y'all, here to vlog about Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 5 episode. I believe this is 16 or 17, one or the other. So it starts off with Nene and Greg preparing for Nene's dinner party with the girls in LA. And, she basically wants the girls to come and hang out for a bit before they go to Vegas. So she wants them to see her home and where she works at and whatnot. So Cynthia calls and she's speaking to Cynthia about, preparing to come to LA. And Cynthia's like, well, I'm packing. I'm excited to come and see you. I miss you and everything. So her and Greg are discussing like the details of the dinner party, and they want the dinner party to start at 9. So they're gonna have alcohol there, and they're gonna try and have other beverages there too because Candy doesn't drink. So I think Greg said something about like a sex on the beach, and Nene was like, no sex on the beach. She doesn't drink alcohol at all. He was like, well, sex on the street. I was rolling. I'm like, you know what? Greg has issues. He's a mess, but I love Greg. So you know, Nene was basically saying, I guess they were talking about having all the girls together. So Nene was like, they better all be on their best behavior while they're here visiting in LA. So, she's talking to Greg, and then she was like, listen, I have a splash of crazy and a whole lot of bitch. So, just because I went to Hollywood, nothing's changed. I'm still the same. And I was like, exactly. You better let them know. Let them know. So the girls arrive in LA and they are super jet lagged and tired and hungry and everything. So they're in the limo. They're in a stretch limo. I guess it was like a Hummer limo or stretch limo. I don't know. So they're in the limo, and Nene rented a place for them to stay because she didn't want them staying in her house. So she rented this nice place for them to stay, but they couldn't get up the road to get to it because the limo was like long as hell, and the roads are like real twisty turny all the way up in the hills. So Nene said that she was gonna go pick up the girls. Meanwhile, the girls are sitting at the bottom of the hill waiting for Nene. Kenya is trying to trying to drive the car up the road. Like, she's like, why don't you let me drive? I'm a really good driver. I don't think it was a question of if the driver could drive or not. It's a question of the car. The car was not making it up the road. Period. Point blank. Even Candy and Portia is like, why are they even trying to get her to drive it? It's not even that the driver can't drive. The damn car is too big to go up the road. I'm like, Kenya, sit down. Like, every time something like this happens, she always got to turn just all attention to herself. But so she picks them up and she takes them to where they're staying. She shows them the main room, the outside with I think it had a jacuzzi. I'm not sure if that was a pool, but she did say it was a jacuzzi. So it was a nice little place she had them set up at. So the girls unpacked and unwind a little bit. They had to wait for Phaedra because Phaedra missed her flight. So Nene told them that she's having a dinner party that night at 9, and she wanted them to be there at 9. So that the girls all had to wait for Phaedra. Oh, okay. Tired. So Phaedra finally gets there, and she's jet lagged. She has a headache, and they're all tired, but they still have to go to this dinner party. So they're in the limo. And the girls are like, well, what time is it? What time are we supposed to be at the dinner party? So Cynthia's like, we're supposed to be at the dinner party at 9, and it's now 11:40. No, it's like now 11 o'clock. So they're driving or whatever, and they're being driven to the party. So Cynthia calls Nene while they're in the car, and she's like, we're late, but we're on our way. And Nene was like, well, y'all might as well turn right back around and go back to the house because it's pointless and y'all even coming. Here it is damn near midnight. Y'all gonna show up late. The dinner party was at 9, so I don't need y'all to come. And then she hung up. So the girls thought it would still be a good idea to still go to the dinner party because they thought they felt bad. They said that they felt that Nene would have felt some kind of way because they didn't show up at all. In all actuality, Nene didn't want them to come at all because they're late. So when they got there, Nene left them out there in the driveway, and she was like, "No, turn around, go back to the room." Because y'all are 3 hours late to my dinner party. So they were out there for a hot minute going back and forth about the girls wanted Nene to let them in. Nene was like, "No, I'm not letting y'all in. Y'all are late. Everybody's packing up and they about to leave. Like, how you show up to a party 3 hours late?" I get Nene's point of view, and I get the girls' point of view because, in my opinion, Nene should have threw that dinner party. She should have threw it like the next night, because you threw it the night that the girls got to LA. From what I heard, I've never been to California, but from what I heard, that's a 6 hour flight. And 6 hours on a plane, you jet lagged, you tired, just all kinds of things. So the girl should have relaxed for that night, and then you should have had the dinner party the next night. That would have made more sense, because you wanted them to come to the dinner party. First of all, Phaedra missed her flight, so Phaedra didn't get there until 30 minutes before the dinner party started. And then for everybody to get dressed and everything and leave out, yeah, you would get to a party late. And I mean, I get where Nene was coming from, getting to the party late, but how she handled it was just ridiculous. So, Candy is like, "Dang, we can't even get a plate to go," or something like that. And Nene is like, "Hell no." So Greg is like, "I'll go get you something to eat." So he went and got them like a platter of food and some drinks and whatnot. And somebody said, "We don't get dessert." They're like, "Hell no, you don't get no dessert." I'm just like, wow. So I'm like, they stood out there for nothing. I wouldn't even sit out there and debate it with her. I'd have took my ass right back to the house. Later, well, I think that's what Candy said she was going to do anyway. She was like, "Well, oh well, I'll go back to the room that you rented and have fun on your dime." Hello, that's what I'm talking about. Cause I'm like, I wouldn't even sat there and tried to like negotiate with her if she could let you in or not. I would have just took my ass back home. So the girls are like disappointed or whatever, but they went back home with their plates or whatever, and I rested up for the night. So the next morning, Kenya wakes up, and she's the first one up. She said that she exercised and everything, and she's making breakfast. So she's like, she feels like if she makes breakfast or whatever, all the girls will be up and they'll get to where they gotta go. They gotta go to on time. So they're all discussing that, and they're all shocked that Kenya is cooking, and they all trying to make it to where they gotta go on time. So Greg and Nene are poolside. Well, Greg is cleaning out the pool. Nene is poolside going over her lines. So Greg is like, "Don't you think you were a little harsh on the girls or whatever?" She's like, "No, because we paid for caterers to be there. They've been there since 7. The dinner party started at 9. So I don't feel like I was harsh in any way. Like, how do you show up to a dinner party late?" And I'm like, I understand where she's coming from, but you got to look at it both sides. You can't be selfish, because you picked the same night that they came into LA to do the dinner party. So it's whatever. I mean, I understand her frustration, and I understand the girls. Like, both were wrong, in my opinion. So they go to this place called Groundlings, and that's like a improv place. So they go there just to do some improv, because Kenya, I guess, worked there, or she's been there before or whatever. But as usual, Kenya Moore got to turn this on her like this is her trip to LA, like we really care, but whatever. So they're in the improv class, and they're making noises and acting funny, and at one point they had to do this exercise where they had to like compliment each other. And Kenya catty ass gonna say something to Phaedra like, "Oh, your bunions look so nice in them shoes. Those are the prettiest bunions I ever saw." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, you are so catty. For you to be in your 40s, your early 40s, you are like a fucking child. Like, oh my god, Kenya gets on my nerves. She really does. She is like so attention starved. It's sad. So Nene arrived there late. I think she did it on purpose. And when she got there, the class is basically over. So, Nene was like, all right, y'all got me back for making y'all feel like that. So, all is forgiven. Nene takes them on a tour to Paramount Pictures, and it seemed like Nene was crashing the cart all over the place, but she showed them where Glee was she showed them where Glee is filmed. She showed them like a little makeshift set that they have of New York, and she showed them her trailer for when she's Rocky on A New Normal. So the girls all look in her trailer and they see she has like pillows on her couch that she bought, a nice little bathroom. Like her trailer is fairly nice, and of course Kenya is like, wow, this is a nice trailer because when I first started acting, I only had a bathroom. What was your major role, Kenya? I can name a few movies I've seen her in, and it's only one movie that she was actually like the leading person in, and that was Toi. Other than that, she was like a guest appearance or a cameo. Like she was a guest appearance on The Parkers. Um she was like a small character on Martin. She was Miss Bozak. Um she was a cameo in Deliver Us from Eva. And I mean, she was throwing out names or whatever, but it's like you wasn't in none of these leading roles. And the one movie that you were a leading lady in, it was straight to DVD. So you talking like you some big ass star. Half the people that's watching Real Housewives of Atlanta didn't even know who you were. So your point, as always, trying to make something out of like her own, like trying to make it about her. So the ladies go to dinner, and Nene, in my opinion, Nene was just throwing her money around because they went to dinner at this place called the Crustacean, and she's ordering all this fancy stuff, and I guess she got the hookup. I mean, I guess that's the perks of being a celebrity. So the girls get there and they're late. Everybody was just late this episode. So she's like, you bitches is late, but I'm glad you're here. So they sitting down and they're talking. They're all talking about, well, Portia and Phaedra were talking about kids or whatever. So they were discussing that. They were discussing baby names, and of course the topic of Candy feeling like Kim stole her baby name, which is Cash. That came up, but I don't really believe that Kim stole it because Kim has been with Croy for like 2 years almost, longer than that. Yeah, she's been with him for like 3 years. They've been married for almost 2 years, and she said she tweeted that she was gonna name KJ. She was gonna name KJ Cash, but she wanted him to be a junior because that's Croy's first son. So I guess they figure, since they have KJ, if they have another boy, they're gonna name him Cash. And honestly, I believe that Kim didn't steal a name because Candy didn't say nothing about naming her child Cash until this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And first of all, you're not even pregnant. You don't know if the next baby if you have a baby with Ty, you don't know if that's going to be a boy or not. So, and why are we getting so catty with the name Cash? Like, you can still name your child Cash if you want to. It's not like it's illegal for people to have the same name. Like, that's so third grade, but whatever. So then they talk about the fitness video that Phaedra and Kenya are doing. So they asked Kenya, what are you naming the title of your video? And Kenya was like, I'm calling it Kenya's Booty Boot Camp. And they're like, okay, that's nice. And then they were asking Phaedra if she finished, if she freestyle, if she choreographed her exercises, or if she had to, people do it. She said, no, we choreographed it. And they asked her, they were like, well, do you have a name for your video? She's like, yeah. They were like, are you going to tell us what it is? She said, no, I won't be disclosing that. And I mean, I get it because you came up with the idea to do a fitness video geared towards your gluteus maximus. and here comes Miss Kenya trying to steal the same thing. So I get it. I'd have done the same thing. So she's like, I'm not gonna sit up here and give Kenya any more ideas free of charge. So I'm gonna just keep it to myself. So they were talking about I think either a future party or party, like past parties that they had, but Walter came up in the conversation. So they were discussing Walter, and Kenya was like, well, I don't know if you guys know or not. I don't even think I told you, but me and Walter broke up. So the ladies were like, oh, okay, well, he's been to a couple of parties. Like, he was at a party. He was at Cordell's birthday party or whatever. And Kenya was like, oh, he got an invite and I didn't. Of course he's going to get an invite because him and Cordell are still cool. You and Portia aren't cool, so why are you feeling so salty about not getting an invite to a party? Cordell is not really involving himself in the drama between Portia and Kenya. He just wants Portia to stop beating a dead horse, basically. So I'm pretty sure whether Kenya showed up to his party or not, it wouldn't have mattered to him. But him and Walter are cool, so that's why Walter got an invite and you didn't. Like, and you and Portia ain't cool, so like, whatever. So they were still talking about Walter, and when Portia said, well, it seemed like he had fun at the party, Kenya got up and stormed off. As usual, like I've been saying this whole vlog, she turned this into a situation about her. So she got up and stormed off, and Nene is trying to calm her down, and she's like, I don't want to discuss Walter. She said, I consider you a friend, Cynthia a friend, and Candy a friend. I don't rock with them other bitches like that. So, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want my business out there. And Nene is like, well, you just got to deal with it. Like, get over it. Like, they ain't really paying it no mind. It's just talk. Like, we were all talking. So the episode ended there. And, I mean, it was a good episode. It was a couple laughable moments. Next week's episode is going to continue the trip in LA, from LA to Vegas. So the girls will be going to Vegas next episode. So I will be watching, because I watch all these shows every week. So I'll be back to vlog about that. And the next vlog I'm going to do is about Housewives. So see you in a bit. Later. Bye.